Greetings travelers, welcome to Azeroth and another installment of our adventure through the world of Warcraft, looking for the secrets and Easter eggs hidden off the beaten path, or sometimes in plain sight. Today we are traveling back in time to Teldrassil, the towering timberland home of the Night Elf civilization. Well, until recent events. Off the coast of the northwesternmost end of Kalimdor, Teldrassil is unique in that it is an island composed entirely of a single, massive tree rising out of the ocean. So, let's take our trek through Teldrassil and look at its secrets and Easter eggs. But before we get started, if you enjoy what I'm doing here, please consider leaving a like and subscribing for more in the future. And if you never want to miss an upload, ring the bell. Seriously, doing so is the single best way you can help this channel grow, and it lets me know what sort of content you want more of. But with that out of the way, let's get started. As with every starting zone, let's begin with where every new Night Elf starts their adventure, Shadowglen. Around here, on your map, right beside where new players spawn, you will find Melithar Staghelm, presumably flirting with this woman he's talking to. I point Melithar out only because he shares his surname with Fandral Staghelm, an important character within Night Elf lore and one of the race's leaders during the vanilla release of the game. It's unclear if they are related, and if they were, how Melithar felt about Fandral's betrayal of Tyrande and Malfurion. Given that he's still here, he probably didn't take it too well. The centerpiece of Shadowglen is a large tree named Aldrassil, which has buildings carved into and jutting out of it. Upstairs, in the main room of this Aldrassil complex, you will find a stuffed bear alongside this area's bowyer and weaponsmith. I find this interesting because, though the Night Elves are no stranger to hunting or animal husbandry, it is quite out of character to keep a stuffed bear like this as a trophy. Perhaps this was meant as some sort of statue? Either way, I do not recall seeing this anywhere else in any of the Night Elf zones. Additionally, up on this level to the right and left sides of the room, you will see small paintings. One has two trees alongside a sun, while the other has a simple, large leaf. Downstairs, alongside the general goods vendor, you will find another painting of an owl or hippogryph face. These textures are not unique to Aldrassil, you can find them through all of the Night Elven architecture, but I do find them fascinating. It's a small peek into the culture of the Night Elves, and what they find worthy as the subject of art. The fact that they all seem to depict natural objects or scenes does not surprise me. Now, all throughout the structure built into Aldrassil, you will find several wounded Sentinels crouching in pain, apparently placed with no rhyme or reason. These NPCs were once part of a class quest for druids and priests to introduce players to the concept of healing. However, like most class fantasy quests, they have sadly since been removed from the game. Now these wounded sentinels just kneel within this tree, with no acknowledgement or aid in their plight. Poor things. Before we move out of Shadowglen, let's hit a few general notes, shall we? The names Teldrassil and Aldrassil were both likely lifted from Yggdrasil, the world tree from Norse mythology that connected the 9 realms of existence to one another. These are fitting names given that Teldrassil is a world tree in Azeroth's mythology. That general Norse motif actually runs pretty deep in the Night Elf architecture too, which has a lot of elements of ancient Norse iconography mixed into its mainly East Asian influence. It's a cool blend. I've never really seen architecture quite like this in any other fantasy IP. Additionally, throughout Teldrassil you will notice a distinct lack of mineral nodes that can be used for blacksmithing. In fact, even trainers for both professions are completely missing from the zone. While at first you may wonder why, it appears that there are rocks and earth here, you must remember that Teldrassil is a giant tree, so of course there wouldn't be any copper, tin, or iron produced within it. It's details like this that really impress me with Blizzard's world building, especially in the early days of World of Warcraft. Like, it could have just been so easy to add that for mechanics' sake and then just make up a reason why. Now, moving out of Shadowglen, let's take a stop by the village of Dalinar, a major questing hub in Teldrassil. Honestly, not much is out of place in this township. It's all typical Night Elven buildings and residents with no great amount of backstory to it. But within the inn, around here, on your map, on the counter in front of these merchants, you will see absolutely massively long books. I imagine that these are supposed to be ledgers of some sort, and while I don't remember seeing them anywhere else, they are surely not unique to this area, but I just find them really funny. They're really, really long. How are you gonna put this in a bookshelf? In a small passageway hidden behind Dalinar, around here, on your map, you will find the Fell Rock cave system infested with Grell. New Night Elf adventurers are sent here during a quest, but while cleansing the cavern you may run into the rare spawn Threggil, standing near the back of the cave at this small pond. He is uniquely colored for the area and wields a massive machete. An interesting little guy here. I like him. A bit further back up the trail around here, on your map, you will come across the ruined Starbreeze village, overrun by the corrupted Furbolg of the nearby Gnarlpine tribe. Besides the novelty of seeing Night Elven buildings just absolutely trashed, what we are interested in here is the rare spawn Uruson, who patrols back and forth between the buildings. I wonder what his story is. Perhaps he's a great warrior for the Gnarlpine, sent to oversee the occupation of Starbreeze village? Now, let's head south of Dalnar a bit, around here, on your map. Lake Alameth is an interesting shape, with two larger pools of water connected by a thin stream in the middle. Within this skinnier part of the lake, you will find a lone boat resting as a stepping stone between the two banks of the shorelines. I adore little scenes like this. Like what happened to cause whomever was helming this boat to just abandon ship? Well, perhaps it had something to do with all the timberlings around. Still, there's something absolutely gorgeous about these Night Elf lands and little scenic places like this. On the western end of Lake Alameth, around here, on your map, you will find the rare spawn Blackmoss the Fetid. With a darker hue than the others around him, Blackmoss stands upon a mound overlooking the lake. Previously, Blackmoss would wander the Wellspring Lake in Classic and Vanilla, but now he has this simple set spawn point from which he doesn't move. To the south of Lake Alameth, around here, on your map, you may come across the rare mob Duskstalker. Lots of rare mobs in this area. A white spotted saber cat, this beast makes for an excellent hunter companion, especially for earlier levels. His model is unique to saber cats of this area, and you only really get more white saber caps in areas like Winterspring, which are much further along in your journey. Perhaps coincidentally, there's a set of shoulder armor called the Duskstalker Pauldrons, once a favorite of rogues and cat-form druids. I doubt that they were named after this mob, but maybe it was the other way around, and either way, it's a cool connection. Around here, on your map, you will come across a pathway in the mountains surrounding Shadowglen into a Furbolg-connected area called the Cleft. Within, you may come across the rare spawn Grimmaw, standing guard over the cave home to the Furbolg leader Ursal the Mauler. A bit to the south, around here, on your map, you may find Agal, another rare Furbolg in Benethil Hollow. He stands within a small cave across from Benethil Barrow Den, waiting for adventurers to wander off the path and into his clutches. Far to the northwest, past the Oracle Glade, around here, on your map, you may come across the rare spawn Fury Shelda, patrolling through the Harpy Roost. Though she isn't really referenced anywhere in-game, given her named status, she is presumably the leader of the Bloodfeather Harpies here. Around this same area, here, on your map, hidden away at just the northwestern end of Teldrassil like all the way you can go, you will find a small alcove tucked away within the Harpy Roost. Here you will come across a night saber named Mist, who offers you a quest. You can tell that it's been injured and are compelled to escort it back to their companion, Sentinel Arenya Cloudsbreak, before Mist succumbs to its injuries. Given Arenya's quest text, it appears that the pair were out doing battle against the Harpies, but one of the beasts caught them off guard and gravely injured Mist. Perhaps it was Fury Shelda. That would add even more flavor to that encounter. In the end, Cloudsbreak will be incredibly grateful for your help returning Mist to her. This is such a cool little hidden quest that I never found in this area, despite the dozens of characters I've leveled up throughout Teldrassil. So I gotta look everywhere, guys. This world has just a ton of surprises. At the very head of Wellspring Lake, around here on your map, you will find a dock with two boats in the small lake? Honestly, considering its size, this is more of a pond, though I do know you have to use your imagination for this game. So much of the World of Warcraft had to sacrifice its realistic scale to be realistically playable. Anyway, you're never specifically sent to this little spot during your questing experience, so this area seems like it was added purely for flavor. I mean, a dock here would be utterly useless, and the boats can't really go anywhere, but it looks great and is probably a fantastic location for roleplayers to unwind. Similarly, south of Darnassus, around here, on your map, you will find a lake hidden within the mountains. Under a nearby tree, another dock is jutting into this lake with a boat softly bobbing next to it, though this lake is slightly larger in size and does seem to warrant such a dock. As to my understanding, this area is completely inaccessible without use of a flying mount, but it does appear to be quite a pleasant clearing. If I were to guess, this area was likely added to fill out the map and for flavor, so roleplayers had an excellent place to gather and relax, and perhaps even get romantic. Now, let's head back to Wellspring Lake for a second. At the edge of Teldrassil, around here, on your map, you will find where the small river that runs from Wellspring Lake leads. It actually falls right off the side of Teldrassil, creating a beautiful waterfall that hurtles downward, smashing into several parts of Teldrassil's towering tree trunk, before finally being split by a branch and dithering off. I wanted to point this out firstly because it's a beautiful sight that I doubt most players have seen. You'd really only come exploring here with a flying mount, something that not many casual players would ever do. Secondly, I am really impressed with how realistic this water acts. When falling from this sort of height, the water would be so diffused into the air by the end of it that it wouldn't be together at all. Just look at how a lot of waterfalls act in real life. I think that this is pretty impressive given how janky a lot of World of Warcraft's water physics are. Though it does make me wonder, how does this lake and river maintain its size if water is continuously being siphoned off like this? Then again, I'm probably thinking way too hard about this magic water from the giant fantasy tree, aren't I? At the northwestern end of Teldrassil, around here on your map, you will find a unique satyr named Sethir the Ancient. Occasionally, he will wander away from Teldrassil, climbing onto one of the massive branches poking out from the tree. He will walk its entire expanse until he eventually stares out towards the northern sea. If you are detected by Sethir, the satyr will summon 6 minions to assault you, a sure death sentence for lower level characters. Sethir was once part of a rogue-class fantasy quest, where players had to sneak up and pickpocket the Ancient's diary. Sadly, like most fantasy class quests, this was removed from World of Warcraft, leaving only Sethir behind to wander out over the sea. Now let's go to the southern base of Teldrassil, around here on your map, where you will come across the remains of Rutheran village. The settlement, a launching point for boats and flying beasts to reach Kalimdor proper, was obviously in much better shape before the Cataclysm, and now lays very much in ruin. Rutheran village is one of the areas where night elves breed, train, and raise hippogryphs, as evidenced by the village hall's main chamber. Here you will find several hippogryph eggs, some of which are already hatched. Across the room you can find a few hippogryphs of varying size and age. These are all presumably adults, as the pets you can get of baby hippogryph hatchlings are significantly smaller. I do not have one because I am not made of money. Off the coast of Rutheran village, here on your map, if you dive underwater you will see the remnants of one of the village's docks. This was sunken after the Cataclysm and left here to be reclaimed by the ocean. This dock in particular used to be for the boat that connected Teldrassil to the Darkshore settlement of Aberdeen, which has also seen better days. Blizzard developers have suggested that, after the Battle for Azeroth, the Alliance reclaimed and repaired the Darkshore settlement, though I doubt that Rutheran Village will get the same treatment for pretty obvious reasons. All around Teldrassil, you will find several strips of lands at the base of the massive tree that you can walk around on. Here, on your map, for example, you will find one that seems to have had some human activity recently. A tree has been cut down here, which is a strange sight to see, as the closest bit of civilization is the aforementioned Rutheran village. The tree trunk has also been left here too, so it seems like they didn't even need the wood that badly, or had to leave in a hurry. Maybe they cut this down while Deathwing was flying across the sky. Another possibility is that the world designers just put this here to show that a tree had naturally fallen down, and didn't think too much about using a model that has clearly been cut down instead. Another curiosity at the base of Teldrassil, around the eastern side, here on your map, you will find another small alcove of habitable land. However, this one is completely unmarked on the map. There's a small Furbolg village here with no signs of life anywhere in sight. An axe has been driven into a pole supporting one of the huts, perhaps suggesting that some sort of confrontation happened here, or there was a very frustrated bearman taking it out on his home. Who knows? Regardless, either this village was completely abandoned or all the Furbolgs are hiding within their huts, and they may have very good reason to. Nearby, close to the coastline, you will find a night elf woman named Elariel, crouched next to the shore. Beside her is a scruffy warg pup keeping her company, an impressive weapon thrust into the earth, and 2 bags of powder. To put it simply, Elariel here is the epitome of what a successful rogue would look like in vanilla and classic. Her garb is a full set of Bloodfang armor, the tier 2 set of high-end rogue equipment from early in World of Warcraft's life, all of which dropped from bosses and in-game raids. Her weapon is the legendary Thunder Fury, Blessed Blade of the Windseeker, a weapon once wielded by Prince Thunderon, son of Alakir, the Windlord. To claim this weapon in vanilla or classic is quite a feat, involving a lengthy and expensive quest chain that only began when a rare item dropped from bosses in the Molten Core. The weapon also became an in-joke for the community, who would link its name in its entirety in world chats throughout Azeroth. The scruffy warg pup is a reference to the warg pup battle pet, which was originally a reward from another lengthy quest line, this one from the lower Blackrock Spire. The two bags next to her are labeled Assassin's Grade Blinding Powder and Assassin's Grade Flash Powder, references to reagents rogues once needed for their blind and vanish abilities. Finally, if you have a detection spell or an item of an equivalent effect, you will see that Elariel is surrounded by stealth sneaky marmots. Alas, I do not have access to such abilities at the time I recorded this footage, so you will have to take the internet's word for it. Though I could find no hard evidence that Elariel here is a reference or a tribute to a particular player, this is such a specific setup that I feel like she just has to be. The user Kamoshi from Wowhead claims to have once been part of a guild called Nephilim on Blackhand US during Vanilla, and said that one of their GMs was a rogue named Elariel. Kamoshi remembered that this Elariel was the first member of the guild to earn Thunderfury Blessed Blade of the Windseeker, so perhaps this is an in-game incarnation of that player. It's entirely possible that a Blizzard employee was also in that guild, and decided to pay tribute to Blackhand US's Elariel and their achievements. It wouldn't be the first time such a reference would be put in the world of Warcraft. In Dun Morrow, an NPC named Buin, Phloppy Freehand, is a reference to a popular player who sadly passed away from liver failure, after selflessly refusing a transplant so that it may save another. If you'd like to learn more about this incredible tribute to a wonderful part of the World of Warcraft community, check out my video covering Dun Morrow's secrets and Easter eggs. Given how vast and dense the World of Warcraft is, it's inevitable that I missed something. So if you know of any other secrets and Easter eggs in Teldrassil, let me know down in the comments below. And while you're down there, let me know what zone you want us to explore next. Please remember to like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for more in the future. Those are honestly the single best ways you can help this channel. Seriously, it feeds the YouTube algorithm old gods and keeps it happy, and it lets me know what you want more of. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.